The scar on your back didn't come from an enemy. IT came from someone you let sit at your table. Someone you defended when others doubted them. Someone who knew where you kept your fears, your money, your passwords, your heart. And when the moment came, when they had a choice between loyalty and opportunity, they chose themselves. You sighed, coming deep down. You knew there were signs. Small things. Things you explained away because you wanted to believe in them. But your gut was screaming in a language you refused to translate. Because admitting you were wrong about them meant admitting you were wrong about your own judgment. And that felt worse than the knife. Here's what nobody tells you about betrayal. IT doesn't announce itself. IT doesn't send a warning letter. IT wears the face of friendship. It speaks the language of love. It borrows your car, meets your family, holds your secrets. And the entire time, it's calculating. Not because people are evil, but because most people are weak. And weakness, when given access to your life, will always choose self-preservation over loyalty when the pressure comes. Carl Jung said something that should be carved into every man's mind. He said, people will do anything, nitrogen monoxide matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. When a person refuses to look at their own darkness, their own cowardice, their own selfishness, that darkness doesn't disappear. IT gets projected outward. Unto you. You think you're building a friendship. You're actually building a mirror they don't want to look into. And the moment you reflect something back to them they don't like, something that forces them to see their weakness, they will shatter you to avoid shattering the illusion they have of themselves. Most men go through life trusting by default. They assume people mean what they say they assume. Loyalty is the starting point. They assume that because they would never betray someone, others operate the same way. This is a fatal miscalculation. Not because you should trust nitrogen monoxide one, but because you should trust strategically. Trust is not a feeling. IT's not a vibe. It's not chemistry. Trust is evidence accumulated over time. It's a pattern proven under pressure. And most people never apply pressure. They just hope for the best and get destroyed by the worst. Today, we're going into the 3 behaviors that reveal a person who is structurally incapable of loyalty. These are not obvious. They don't look like betrayal. They look like personality quirks. They look like flaws you can overlook, but they are foundational cracks. And when weight is applied, when crisis comes, when they have to choose between you and their comfort, the structure collapses, and you're buried in the ruble wondering how you didn't see IT. By the end of this, you will see IT. You will look at your circle differently. You will recognize the pattern, and you will have the clarity to do what you've been too afraid to do. Let go of the people who are only loyal when it's convenient. Because convenient loyalty is not loyalty. It's transaction. In the moment, the price changes, so does their allegiance. Before we identify the 3 types, you need to understand why you keep letting them in. There's a flaw in your system. Psychologists call it projection bias. You project your values onto others. You are a man of your word. When you commit, you commit. When you say you'll be there, you show up. Because you operate this way, you assume others do too. You see your reflection in them, but you're not looking at a mirror. You're looking at a mask. And the mask is designed to make you feel safe, while the person behind IT is deciding whether you're useful. Machiavelli understood this 500 years ago. He wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. People believe what they see, not what they feel." So the manipulator learns to control what you see. They smile when they should. They nod when they should. They say the right words at the right time. And you, because you want to believe in the goodness of people, you accept the performance as reality. This is not cynicism. This is pattern recognition. There's a difference between being paranoid and being perceptive. Paranoia sees enemies everywhere. Perception sees behavior and draws conclusions. We're teaching perception, not to make you cold, to make you safe. Because the cost of misplaced trust is too high. Your time, your energy, your resources, your sanity. These are finite. You cannot afford to waste them on people who are incapable of reciprocating. So we're going to identify them. Not to punish them, not to expose them, but to remove them from positions where they can hurt you. Silently, strategically, without drama. Let's begin. Dr. John Gottman spent 40 years studying relationships. He brought couples into his lab and watched them interact. He measured their heart rates. He analyzed their language. He tracked them for years. And he discovered something that changed how we understand trust. He found that he could predict with 94% accuracy whether a couple would divorce, not by asking them if they loved each other, not by measuring how often they fought, but by observing one specific thing: whether their actions matched their words over time. Gottman called this congruence, and he found that relationships without congruence do not just fail, they become toxic. Because when someone's words do not match their actions, they are not just unreliable. They are training you to doubt your own perception of reality. This is pattern number 1, the consistent mismatch between what they say and what they do. And that is the most common pattern you will see in people who cannot be trusted. Let me show you exactly what this looks like. They say they value your time, but they are always late. Not once, not occasionally, consistently. Every meeting, every plan, every commitment. They show up 20 minutes late, or they cancel at the last minute, or they forget entirely. And when you bring IT up, they have an excuse. Traffic, work, emergency, family issue. Excuses are always reasonable. Excuses are always different, but the behavior is always the same. Here is what is actually happening. Their words are telling you that you matter. Their actions are telling you that you do not. And your brain is caught in the middle, trying to reconcile two opposite messages. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance, and IT is one of the most painful psychological states a human being can experience. Jung wrote about this in terms of the persona versus the shadow. The persona is the mask people wear, the image they want you to see. The shadow is who they actually are when nobody is watching. When someone's words and actions do not match, what you are seeing is the gap between their persona and their shadow. The persona says you are important to me. The shadow reveals you are not important enough for me to actually change my behavior. Now, here is the critical distinction. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone cancels plans sometimes. Everyone forgets things occasionally. The question is not whether they mess up. The question is what happens after they mess up. Trustworthy person, when they realize they have let you down, feels genuine remorse. They apologize without making excuses. They ask what they can do to make IT right, and most importantly, they change their behavior. You do not have to keep bringing up the same issue over and over, because they actually heard you the first time. The untrustworthy person does something different. They apologize with words, but their behavior does not change. They say, "I am so sorry. IT will never happen again." And then it happens again and again. And after a while, you stop bringing it up because you realize the apology is just another layer of the persona. The shadow has nitrogen monoxide intention of changing. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this in The Prince, chapter 18. He wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. For everyone can see, but few can feel. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." What Machiavelli meant was that most people are fooled by appearances, by words, by the image someone projects. But the people who survive, the people who do not get destroyed by betrayal, are the ones who pay attention not to what people say, but to what people do, especially when they think nobody is watching. So, How do you spot this pattern? Here are 4 specific behaviors. 1. They make big promises about the future but take nitro monoxide action in the present. They talk about all the things they are going to do for you, with you to support you. But when it is time to actually do something, they are unavailable. They are busy. They will get to IT next week, next month, next year. The promise is always in the future. The excuse is always in the present. 2. They are generous with words but stingy with effort. They will tell you how much they appreciate you, how much they value you, how lucky they are to have you. But when you actually need help, when you need them to show up, when you need them to sacrifice something for you, they are nowhere to be found. Words are cheap, effort costs something, and they are not willing to pay the costs. 3. Their story changes depending on who is listening. You hear them tell a story to you one way. Then you hear them tell the same story to someone else. And the facts are different. Not minor details. Major facts. The story changes to fit the audience. They are not sharing truth. They are crafting narrative. And people who craft narrative, instead of telling truth, cannot be trusted because you never know which version is real. 4. They keep score. They remember every favor they have done for you. They bring it up in arguments. They use it as leverage. After everything I have done for you, you cannot even do this one thing for me. This is not generosity. This is investment. They are keeping a ledger, and one day they will expect payment with interest. Friedrich Nietzsche wrote, in Beyond Good and Evil, I am not upset that you lied to me. I am upset that from now on I cannot believe you. What Nietzsche understood was that trust is not rebuilt with words. Once the pattern of mismatch is established, once you know that their words and actions do not align, no amount of promising will fix it. Because you have seen behind the mask, you have seen the shadow, and you cannot unsee it. Now here is where we have to be very careful, because there is a wrong way to handle this. And the wrong way will turn you into the manipulator you are trying to protect yourself from. The wrong way is to set traps, to test people by deliberately creating situations where they will fail, to withdraw your support and see if they panic, to ask for favors you do not actually need, just to see if they will say yes. This is not observation. This is manipulation. And if you do this, you are nitrogen monoxide longer protecting yourself. You are playing games. The right way is simple. Observe. Over time, do not rush. Do not make decisions based on one interaction. Watch the pattern over weeks, over months. Notice what they do when they think you are not paying attention. Notice how they treat people who cannot do anything for them. Notice whether they follow through on the small things. Because people who cannot be trusted with small things cannot be trusted with big things. Epictetus taught his students to distinguish between what is in their control and what is not. You cannot control whether someone else is trustworthy. You cannot control whether they match their words to their actions. But you can control whether you pay attention. You can control whether you act on what you see, and you can control whether you allow someone to train you to ignore your own observations. But before you walk away from someone because of this pattern, you need to ask yourself one very uncomfortable question. Are you doing the same thing? Do your words match your actions? When you say you are going to call someone, do you call? When you promise to show up, do you show up? When you commit to something, do you follow through? Or are you also hiding behind a persona, saying the right things while your actions tell a different story? Carl Jung was very clear about this. He said that the things we hate most in others are usually the things we refuse to see in ourselves. If you are obsessed with finding hypocrites, you need to examine whether you are one. If you are terrified of people who lie, you need to examine how often you lie to yourself. This is not about being perfect. This is about being honest. About looking in the mirror and asking, am I demanding a standard from others that I do not hold for myself? Because If you are, then you are not looking for trustworthy people. You are looking for people to blame for your own failures. Pattern. Number 1 is the words versus actions. Devad IT is the most common pattern. IT is the easiest to spot if you are willing to look. And it is the foundation for the other 2 patterns we are going to explore. In the next segment, we are going to talk about pattern number 2. And this one is harder. This one hurts more. Because this is about what happens when they hurt you, and they refuse to take responsibility for it, when every mistake is someone else's fault. When every problem is something you did to make them act that way. Stay with me. This is male psyche. Dr. Evan Stark spent decades studying what he calls coercive control. He worked with victims of abuse, and he noticed something that changed: how we understand toxic relationships. The most dangerous abusers do not start with violence. They start with isolation. This is pattern number 3. And it is the most dangerous, because it happens so slowly that you do not see it until you are completely alone with the person who is hurting you. Here is how it works. At first, they are wonderful. They want to spend all their time with you. They tell you how much they love being with you, how you are the only person who understands them, how everyone else in their life is toxic, or fake, or not worth your time. And it feels good. It feels like intense connection. Like you have found someone who finally sees you. But what is actually happening is different. They're building a wall between you and everyone else. They are making themselves the center of your world. And they are doing it so gradually that you do not notice until the wall is already built. Let me show you the specific steps. Step 1. They criticize your friends. Not directly at first. Just little comments. Your friend talks a lot about himself. De, oe, ese, in, de. Your friend seems kind of flaky. Did you notice she did not ask how you were doing? They plant seeds of doubt. They make you start seeing flaws in people you used to trust. And slowly, you start spending less time with those friends. Not because they told you to, but because the relationship feels different now. Tainted. Step 2. They create conflict between you and your family. They tell you that your family does not respect you, that your family takes you for granted, that your family does not understand you the way they do. And when you go to family events, they're quiet. They're cold. They make it uncomfortable. So you start avoiding family gatherings, because it is easier than dealing with the tension. And your family starts to feel distant, not because you stopped loving them, but because the person you are with has made it exhausting to maintain those relationships. Step 3. They position themselves as the only person who truly cares about you. Everyone else has let you down. Everyone else has disappointed you. But they are always there. They're always supportive. They are the only one you can count on. And because they have isolated you from everyone else, it starts to feel true. Now you are alone. Your friends have drifted away. Your family feels distant. And the only person left is the person who orchestrated the whole thing. And when you are alone, you are vulnerable. When you are alone, you cannot check your reality against anyone else's perspective. When you are alone, the manipulation becomes invisible because there is nitrogen monoxide one left to point it out. Thomas Hobbes wrote in Leviathan, that man in isolation is in a state of nature, and the state of nature is war. What he meant was that humans need community. We need other people to keep us sane, to keep you as grounded, to reflect back to you as when we are losing our way. When you are isolated, you lose that mirror. You lose that anchor. And you start to believe things that are not true. Because there is nitrogen monoxide, one left to challenge them. Now here is where we need to be very careful, because there is a difference between healthy boundaries and isolation tactics. And if you do not understand the difference, you will either become paranoid or you will miss the real danger. Healthy boundaries are mutual. Both people have the right to say, "This person is not good for our relationship." Both people have the freedom to maintain their own friendships. Both people trust each other enough to have separate lives that come together instead of one consuming the other. Isolation is one-sided. One person decides who the other person can see. One person creates all the rules. One person punishes the other for maintaining outside relationships. And it is always framed as love. I just want to protect you. I just want us to be close. I just think we should prioritize each other. But underneath the words, the message is clear. I want you dependent on me. I want you to have nowhere else to go. Here is the test. Ask yourself these questions. Do I feel free to maintain my friendships without guilt? Or do I feel like I am betraying my partner when I spend time with other people? Does my partner encourage me to have my own life? Or do they get upset when I do things without them? Do I feel supported in my relationships with family? Or do I feel like I have to choose between my family and my partner? If you feel trapped, if you feel guilty for wanting time with other people, if you feel like you have to hide your friendships to keep the peace, you are not in a relationship with boundaries. You are in a relationship with isolation. And isolation is control. And once again, before you walk away from someone for this pattern, you need to look at yourself. Are you the one isolating? Are you the one making your partner feel guilty for having friends? Are you the one creating tension with their family? Are you the one who needs to be the center of their world? Because if you are not protecting the relationship. You are strangling it. And eventually, the person you are isolating will either break or they will leave. And when they leave, you will tell yourself that they were never loyal. But the truth is, you never gave them room to breathe. Plato wrote that. The unexamined life is not worth living. What he meant was that you have to be willing to look at your own behavior honestly, to question your own motives, to see where you are causing the problems you claim to be a victim of. If you demand all of someone's time, you are not in love. You are afraid. If you cannot trust someone to have their own relationships, you are not protecting yourself. You are projecting your own disloyalty onto them. So now you have all three patterns. Words do not match actions. Zero accountability when they cause harm. Gradual isolation from everyone else. If you see one of these patterns, pay attention. If you see two, be very careful. If you see all three, you need to get out. Not because the person is evil, but because the relationship is toxic. And toxic relationships do not get better. They get worse. But the framework is not just about identifying bad people. IT is about becoming a good person yourself. About making sure you are not the one displaying these patterns. About making sure that when you demand trust, you are also offering it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste nitrogen monoxide more time arguing about what a good man should be." P1. What he meant was that the best way to find trustworthy people is to become trustworthy yourself, to match your words to your actions, to take accountability when you mess up, to support the people you love in having full lives, not lives that revolve around you. The goal is not to trust nitrogen monoxide 1. The goal is to trust wisely, to trust based on patterns, not promises. To trust people who have proven over time that they are who they say they are, not people who just say the right things. And here's the final truth. Trust is not given. It is earned. Slowly. Over months. Over years. Through consistent behavior. Through words that match actions. Through accountability when mistakes happen. Through respect for your autonomy and your other relationships. If someone is rushing you to trust them, be suspicious. If someone is demanding your loyalty before they have proven theirs, be careful. If someone is making you choose between them and everyone else in your life, run. Because trust is not about believing the best in people. Trust is about seeing people clearly and choosing to walk with them anyway, because they have shown you that they are worth it. Carl Jung said that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But you cannot become yourself if you are surrounded by people who need you to be someone else. You cannot grow if you are trapped. You cannot heal if you are being hurt. So look at your life. Look at the people in it. Do their words match their actions? Do they take accountability? Do they support your other relationships? And most importantly, do you do the same for them? If the answer is yes, protect those people. Invest in them. Build with them. Because trustworthy people are rare. And when you find them, you hold on. But if the answer is nitrogen monoxide, if you see the patterns, if you feel the trap closing, you have a choice. Stay and hope things change, or leave and give yourself a chance to heal. Hope is not a strategy. Patterns do not lie, and time will always reveal what words try to hide. This is male psyche, and we do not do easy answers. We do not do comfortable lies. We do psychology that treats you like an adult, that gives you the tools to see clearly, that trusts you to make your own decisions once you have the information. If this video helped you see something you were avoiding, drop a comment. If you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. And if you want more content that goes this deep, subscribe. But most importantly, look in the mirror. Make sure you are not the pattern you are trying to avoid. Make sure you are the person you would want to trust. Because the world has enough manipulators. IT needs more people who keep their word, take accountability, and let the people they love be free. That is the only way trust gets rebuilt. One honest person at a time. In the 199 OS, psychologists Delroy Paulhis and Kevin Williams developed what they called the dark triad. 3 personality traits that, when combined, predict manipulation, exploitation, and betrayal. Narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy. These are not mental illnesses. These are personality, dimensions that exist on a spectrum. And one of the core features that ties all 3 together is this: a complete inability to take responsibility when they cause harm. This is pattern number 2. And IT is the pattern that breaks people. Because IT does not just hurt you. IT makes you question your own sanity. Here is how it works. They do something that hurts you. Maybe they lie. Maybe they break a promise. Maybe they say something cruel. The harm is real. The pain is real. And you bring it up. A trustworthy person will say, "I am sorry. I did not realize that would hurt you. Help me understand so I do not do it again." They own IT. They sit with the discomfort. They do not make IT your fault. But the person with dark triad traits does something completely different. They flip the script. And they do it so smoothly, so quickly, that you do not even see IT happening until you are defending yourself for something they did to you. Psychologists call this DARVO deny, attack reverse, victim and offender. IT is a manipulation tactic that abusers use to avoid accountability. And once you learn to see IT, you cannot unsee IT. First, they deny I never said that. You are remembering it wrong. That is not what happened. They rewrite history. They make you doubt your own memory. And if you have nitrogen monoxide proof, nitrogen monoxide text messages, nitrogen monoxide witnesses, you start to wonder if maybe you are the one who is wrong. Then, they attack. Why are you bringing this up? Why are you always so sensitive? You are just looking for things to be upset about. You are trying to start a fight. Now you are on the defensive. You are explaining yourself. You are trying to prove that you are not crazy. And in doing that, the focus has shifted completely away from what they did. Finally, they reverse victim and offender. You are the one hurting me by accusing me. I am trying my best, and you just criticize everything I do. I feel like I am walking on eggshells around you. Now they are the victim. You are the villain. And you find yourself apologizing to them for being hurt by what they did. If you have ever experienced this, you know how insane IT feels. You walk into a conversation trying to address something legitimate and you walk out feeling Like you are the problem. Like you are the abusive one. Like you are the one who needs to change. Sigmund Freud identified this as projection. When someone cannot face their own flaws, their own cruelty, their own selfishness, they project IT onto you. They accuse you of the exact thing they are doing. And they do it with so much conviction that you start to believe them. Jordan Peterson talks about this in his lectures on agreeable people. He says that agreeable people, people who are empathetic and kind and want everyone to be happy, are the most vulnerable to this manipulation because their nervous system is wired to feel other people's pain. When someone says you are hurting me, an agreeable person will immediately feel guilty. They will immediately question themselves. They will immediately try to fix IT, even when they did nothing wrong. And manipulative people know this. They know that agreeable people will take responsibility even for things that are not their fault. So they weaponize IT. They turn your empathy against you. They make you carry the weight of their behavior. Here are the specific things to watch for. 1. They never say, "I am sorry" without a but. "I am sorry, but you made me angry." "I am sorry, but you should not have done that first." "I am sorry, but you are overreacting." The apology is not an apology. IT is a setup for the real message, which is that you are actually the problem. 2. They play the victim better than you can explain the harm. You try to tell them how they hurt you before you even finish. They are crying. They are shutting down. They are talking about how hard their life is. They are making IT about their pain. And now you are comforting them for the thing they did to you. 3. They bring up your past mistakes to deflect from their current behavior. You bring up something they did today. They bring up something you did 6 months ago. Or 6 years ago. The message is clear. You are not allowed to hold them accountable because you are not perfect either. 4. They make you prove the harm. They demand evidence. They demand witnesses. They split hairs over details. IT is not about understanding how you feel. It's about finding a way to dismiss your feelings as invalid. Now, here is the nuance. Everyone messes up. Everyone hurts people sometimes. Everyone gets defensive. When Critici said, "The question is not whether they make mistakes. The question is whether they learn from them." A person with accountability will mess up, feel bad about it, and change their behavior. The next time a similar situation comes up, they do it differently. You do not have to keep having the same fight over and over because they actually integrated the feedback. A person without accountability will mess up, make you feel bad for bringing it up, and do the exact same thing again. The fight does not change. The behavior does not change. Only the excuses change. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What he meant was that obstacles are opportunities to grow. Criticism is an opportunity to improve. Conflict is an opportunity to understand. But people without accountability do not see IT that way. They see criticism as an attack. They see conflict as something to win. They see your pain as an inconvenience, and they will do anything to make it go away without actually addressing the cause. So, before you cut someone off for this pattern, ask yourself, how do you handle it when you hurt someone? Do you get defensive? Do you make excuses? Do you turn it around on them? Or do you sit with the discomfort, own what you did, and commit to doing better? Because if you cannot take accountability for your own mistakes, you do not get to demand it from others. And if you are quick to point out everyone else's flaws but blind to your own, you are not looking for trustworthy people. You are looking for perfect people. And perfect people do not exist. Arthur Schopenhauer wrote, "Every person takes the limits of their own field of vision for the limits of the world." What he meant was that we judge everyone else by our own standards. If you are someone who takes accountability seriously, lack of accountability in others will stand out to you. But if you are someone who always has an excuse, who always blames circumstances, who always finds a way to make your mistakes someone else's fault, then you will not see this pattern in others because you are blind to it in yourself. The goal is not to find people who never make mistakes. The goal is to find people who own their mistakes and learn from them, just like you should. In the next segment, we are going to cover pattern number 3, and this one is the most dangerous because IT happens so slowly you do not see IT until IT is too late. This is about isolation, about how manipulative people gradually separate you from everyone who could help you see what is happening. This is the pattern that traps people, and once you are trapped, getting out becomes exponentially harder. Stay with me. This is Male Psyche, and we are almost there.